Hello and welcome to another episode of the Digitizing India Series presented by Cisco in partnership with CNBC TV18 and Moneycontrol.com. Now, according to NASSCOM's India Startup Report 2014, there are approximately 3,100 tech startups in India, which is the third largest base in the world. And this number is expected to grow to about 11,500 startups, employing 250,000 people by 2020. Also, reports suggest that $5.2 billion was the quantum of funding that went into tech startups in India in 2014. So it's plain to see that the startup space here is seeing a lot of growth, and so this week we're taking a look at how startups in the country are digitizing. On the show today, we meet Tarun Mishra of Covaxis Technologies that's using big data analytics to improve the productivity of manufacturing plants. While Balaji Kanigecherla of Ineda Systems talks to us about the processors that they've developed specifically for wearables. And finally, Bipinpreet Singh of MobiQuick tells us why we no longer need to carry cash in our pockets since your wallet is moving on to your mobile. Also, Cisco's Pankaj Lula tells us why the next big thing on the global IT stage could come from India. The Indian government has set an ambitious target of increasing the manufacturing sector's contribution to India's GDP to 25% by 2025 from the current 16%. For this to happen, India needs to leverage its strength in IT and apply it in the manufacturing process, and this is exactly what Covaxis Technologies is doing. Formed in 2009 by Tarun Mishra and Abhijit Mhatre, Covaxis is collecting data from machines on the factory floor to measure their performance and improve productivity.
The first thing which Covaxis is doing and has done is that how do you give visibility to every stakeholder in manufacturing, that how do they see the values, how do they measure at every minute how much value they are losing in terms of rupee and dollar, right? Now that is something, a disruption which we have brought on the way manufacturing floor is being measured and managed. Now, in order to do so, we also realized that the product, which sounds pretty complex, we have made it so simple that entire a complex large plant can go live in 3 weeks flat, right? One machine can go live in 4 hours. I mean, that's the kind of plug and playability is with the system. So some of the key feature, apart from the functionalities which the ample of analytics and reports and all possible, but the key product feature, I would say that the product has got capability that it can go live in 3 weeks flat. So there is no customization required and very minimalistic customization required. 2, we are largely sector agnostic. So whether it's a process industry or discrete industry, the same product can go and fit in very well.
Covaxis maps the entire plant and then connects each and every mechanic to a network that collects all the data. This data is analyzed and displayed on a dashboard which is customized for the needs of different layers of the employees, right from the machine operator to the CEO. Furthermore, the intelligent plant framework technology can be retrofitted in existing plants.
In manufacturing, where 18 months of return is considered as a good ROI, our return comes in 3 months, 4 months, and in some cases we have seen in weeks. It's not a linear improvement by 2%, 3% or 5%, but it gives you a non-linear improvement. You suddenly see that my plant has improved by 20% or 25%. Now this is hard to believe, but unfortunately that's what our system has been proving at all locations and all implementations without any exception. So the impact is very, very disruptive and non-linear, and that's where the whole the fun of the system is.
According to Cisco, the Internet of Everything is estimated to create business value of up to $511 billion over the next decade in India. So what is Covaxis Technologies' plans to ensure that they're able to contribute significantly to this growth? Let's find out.
going forward, we are envisioning that how can Covaxis become a real-time dashboard for the entire value chain. So manufacturing company will have their supplier and their customers. So how can right from the supplier to the manufacturing entity to their customers, how can each one of them in a collaborative manner can create value in real-time basis? No, that's where we are heading to. So what we see that the future of manufacturing is where and that's where IoT is going to do is how can the entire value chain can be put in a single platform which can be consumed by every value element in the chain at the same time. India have no choice because in manufacturing it's undoubtedly no-brainer that India has to play a leading role on a global manufacturing platform, right? If you really want to thrive as a country in next 20-25 years. Now, that cannot happen by following West and Japan what they did in 80s and 90s, correct? So, the practices and the various initiatives which were incorporated and which were being used by Japan or Germany or USA in 90s, if we try to copy it in 2015, that's not how you are going to be number one in the world. So you'll have to think differently. You'll have to bridge the gap. You'll have to narrow the difference which already exists in a smarter way. And that's precisely where our kind of solution and IoT kind of solution is coming in the picture.
With a growing number of startups around IoE, proliferation of devices and a large Indian population, I believe India is poised to have a large number of interconnected devices by 2020. In order to make the Indian startup companies even more successful, India will need to make its regulatory environment easy to set up companies, invest in the skilling of resources, and also we need to provide reliable and fast internet across the country and incentivize those companies which work around national agendas like clean energy. I truly believe that the Indian startup space is well primed to produce the next big global innovation. In recent years, India has become a center for creative and emerging ideas. With the availability of capital for startups and the emergence of smartphones, every day a number of innovative businesses with disruptive models are being set up across a host of industries, including healthcare, clean energy, agriculture, and e-commerce. And it's a matter of time one of these will take off and make it to the global scale.
On that note, it's time for us to take a quick break, but on the other side, we meet Balaji Kanigi-Cherla of Ineda Systems, who tells us why their processors are going to change the wearable technology market. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching the Digitizing India series, and this week we're looking at how startups are digitizing. Estimates suggest that 1.5 billion devices in India will be connected to the internet by 2018. Ineda Systems has designed and developed two wearable processor units which are low-power, high-performance systems on chips that are targeted at the emerging wearable technology market. Let's take a look.
We are working on processors that are going to power the wearables and the Internet of Things technology which is emerging as we speak today. So at the heart of the technology is actually the compute power that you require, which is very low on energy consumption as well as high in security features, and then just giving just enough performance at the right price point and economics basically. So Ineda is working on semiconductor chips related to high-end processing as well as actually mid-range to low-end microcontroller market basically, serving the area of wearables as well as Internet of Things. Both the chips are available in the market today. We already have top-tier customers across the world making them going through the trials, and they're actually designing their devices. So we expect to see these devices out in the market probably by end of the year or early next year. So this is the chip which is called as the Dhanush Advanced. So this actually can operate up to 2 billion operations per second basically from a processor perspective. And then this is the other chip that we call it as Dhanush Micro, which can actually give almost 400 million instructions per second kind of performance at very low memory footprint and low cost basically. So between these two chips actually we intend to serve both the low cost market as well as the high performance market within the Internet of Things.
While Ineda Systems is conducting its R&D in Hyderabad, the actual manufacturing of its processors is being done overseas in Taiwan and China. What is their estimation of when their processors will have a Made in India tag?
To manufacture the chips of this nature basically, so there are two ingredient technologies that we require. One is actually on the fabrication, then the other one is actually around packaging. So right now both of them are not in the right shape within India for us to take advantage of the local ecosystem. So obviously we are going to Taiwan and China. That's where actually most of our manufacturing is done today. But as we keep seeing the local ecosystem evolving, definitely we are going to take advantage of the local fabrication as well as even the test and assembly, everything here. And indeed the chips themselves are designed in India, and we're hoping that we can also make them in India, and that would be really icing on the cake basically.
Formed in 2010 by a group of semiconductor industry veterans from America and India, Ineda Systems' wearable processor unit offers more than 10 times reduction in power consumption compared to today's computing-based chips. So let's find out what the plans for the road ahead are.
The Internet of Things is going to be a huge market. There are estimates from various analysts talking about 50 billion devices to 300 billion devices. All sorts of numbers are being floated around, and we are very excited looking at the projections from our customers today. Our chips are being designed into the systems by our customers, so the prospects are looking very good right now. I mean, I cannot comment on the exact volumes, but definitely the market itself is going on an explosive growth state right now. And the early numbers that we are hearing from our customers are very encouraging. So we are expecting to get into huge volumes within the next 12 to 18 months. Digitization and the Make in India is indeed creating more awareness for technology company like ours. But right now we are really focused on the global markets. We are already being recognized as a technology innovator, and most of the top tier customers across the world are already being our customers to begin with, and we are hoping actually we can continue the same momentum and success into the India market as well.
It's heartening to see the government initiatives around Digital India and smart cities. India has the opportunity to leapfrog ahead of some of the developed countries with these initiatives, and can make an impact to the lives of every Indian who can be empowered to access services anytime, anywhere. The rollout of these initiatives are not easy. The challenges include regulatory environments where laws vary from state to state. Another one is the ability to provide connectivity across the length and breadth of India. The government will have to create a unified regulation environment for these projects, and also empower states to take a lead on the execution of these projects and incentivize those who take an early initiative.
On that note, it's time for another break, but on the other side, we meet Bipinpreet Singh of the mobile wallet company MobiQuick, which allows users to make payments to online and offline vendors using their smartphones. Stay tuned for that and more. Welcome back. You're watching the Digitizing India series, and this week we're looking at how startups are digitizing in India. Set up in 2009 after one of the founders wasn't able to recharge his prepaid mobile phone owing to shops being closed, MobiQuick is a mobile wallet that allows its 17 million users to make payments across 50,000 online and offline merchants using just their smartphones.
If you live in any big city or town, right, usually there is a nearby grocery store where you go and buy your supplies, but all those payments are almost exclusively in cash, right? The reason is because the point of sale machines which you find in many big stores, in malls, etc., you don't find these in these smaller unorganized retail shops, simply because they are just too costly for the shopkeeper to avail. So how can we use IoT and use the available technology to create a solution. Maybe it can use, Bluetooth, or maybe it can use the combination of internet and Bluetooth and communicate with the smartphone to make payments happen and to digitize the transaction between a consumer and a small merchant. And remember, in this country we have about 14 million such small and medium merchants which currently do not accept any kind of electronic currency. So from a point of view of digitization, this is one of the largest opportunities that exists in this country.
Mackie of social, mobile, analytics, cloud and the Internet of Things is the latest catchphrase for the IT industry. How is MobiKwik leveraging big data analytics and IoT to provide better services to its customers?
We are creating a payments network which connects consumers to consumers and as well as consumers to merchants, right? And we have a scale of about 4.5–5 lakh transactions a day. Now this is a lot of data. This is data about consumer behavior, like where do you want to eat, where does a consumer shop, where is he located, what is his age, what kind of smartphone he has, etc., etc. Now this data can be very useful to provide additional services, for example credit to the same user. So data for us is extremely critical, and we generate about a few terabytes of data every day. We have put in place a team of about 10 people. We're probably one of the very few companies in this country to have done that at this stage. In this team, what it does is, there are two aspects to it. There's one section of the team which is actually trying to make sure that the entire data that we have, how can it be processed and how can it be made available for analysis. Right, this is something called as big data. So using technologies like Hadoop, for example, or different infrastructure layers on top of your existing data, we are trying to make data more available for instant analysis. And then there is a separate team which is working on consuming this data and creating different kind of KPIs and dashboards using which you can understand consumer behavior and take sort of business decisions very quickly on what the business should do, what the merchants should do, what kind of new product offerings we need to create for the consumers.
India has over 300 million internet users, and a sizable portion of them are wary of using credit cards to buy products or services online. On the other hand, according to the 2011 census of India, 41% of the population did not have access to banking services. MobiKwik is aiming to help both these groups by offering its mobile wallet service to the growing number of mobile internet users in the country.
We are one of the pioneers in this, in terms of creating a system where you can actually load cash into a mobile wallet. We recently started a partnership with ICICI Bank, where within the MobiKwik app you can actually create an order for putting cash like 1,000, 2,000 rupees, and you can just go into a nearby ICICI Bank branch and you can just give them cash, and the cash instantly reflects in your mobile wallet. So even if you don't have a debit card, or if you have a debit card and don't know or have the confidence to use it, you can use cash now to start making electronic payments. And I think this is one of the fundamental barriers that needs to be crossed. Same way when we are tying up with our offline retailers, like we tied up with WH Smith, we have tied up with Big Bazaar. On all of these locations, you can go and use MobiKwik, but you can also pay cash and load money into your mobile wallet. And this enables even the non-banked customers to start doing electronic transactions. We have many customers, not one customer, who actually use this service, especially in tier 2, tier 3 towns, where they have to make these payments for their mobile, for their TV. There is another example of a professor. He actually teaches in Delhi University, and so obviously he's a blind person, and for him to achieve anything in his daily life is obviously a struggle. He figured out how to use MobiKwik because we provide a way to use MobiKwik app on Android with speech, which is an assisted kind of, without looking at the app, you can actually receive voice inputs and you can use MobiKwik app. So he's a big fan of MobiKwik, and he uses it every day because he can pay his mobile bills and all his different kind of transactions, and he doesn't have to be dependent on other people to do that.
It's quite exciting to see entrepreneurs in the IoE market. There's really a huge market of opportunity, and these three businesses prove the point. Come up with innovative technology, and there's a bright future for your startup. From Inera's wearable processing unit to MobiKwik's online wallet and Coax's big data analytics, each of these companies has harnessed the power of IoE to simplify lives. My advice to them is to keep anticipating customer needs, continuously innovating, and be ready to disrupt your own business models, and finally, build for scalability.
With that, it's time for us to wrap up this episode of Digitizing India. Next week, we'll take a look at how businesses in India are digitizing. We visit KPIT Technologies in Pune, who tell us what's their next step of digitization. We'll also take a look at how mobile telephone companies are digitizing. And Jayanta Prabhu of SR tells us how the group has benefited from going digital. Also, Cisco's Sanjay Kaul and Puneet Gupta share their thoughts on how IoT can help businesses leapfrog their competitors. Until next week, from the entire team, goodbye. And many thanks for watching.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.